Guatemala City. Welcome to the second semifinal of the Concacaf Under-17 Championship. It's Canada and the United States. Mike Watts on hand. Welcome wherever you may be. The 12th all-time meeting at this tournament between these two sides. You couldn't ask for better environment for it. 72 degrees. The rain will hold off. 10-mile-an-hour winds, and the altitude at 5,000 feet will affect both teams of equal measure. The United States have won 10 of the 11 all-time meetings, scored 26 of the 35 goals. What lies in store for these teams now that they've both qualified for the World Cup in Peru? Mexico on Sunday night in the final, should they advance. So the United States, the second-ranked team in their 19th appearance at this tournament, have now qualified for a record 18th Under-17 World Cup, a mark that could later be met by Brazil. They're the three-time champions of this tournament, and they're back with a 21-4 goal difference. They thoroughly handled Group F, including a 1-0 win against Canada in the finale to decide the group. They dominate the Dominican Republic, and then they get the quarterfinal that, frankly, no one in the field wanted to face. A spot in the World Cup on the line, facing the host country of Guatemala in their national stadium. An 8-goal outburst, 5 from the United States. They never trailed. 12,000 fans got all of their money's worth. But ultimately, the U.S. qualify for the World Cup, and now they're after the one trophy that Mexico still has their hands on the men's side in Concacaf. They no longer hold Champions League or Gold Cup, Nations League. They didn't win the octagonal. They didn't win the under-20s, nor did they qualify for the Olympics. No, the U.S. are after the one thing that Mexico has held now for a decade. 4-time winners. They'll get their shot at Canada today, and if they can handle that, they'll get a chance at their 4th title at the expense of their greatest geographic rival, Mexico, on Sunday. Canada has very different ideas. This is a Canadian side that's never won this tournament. They're runners-up in 2011. They lost to the United States that year. The U.S. most recent victory and triumph at the Under-17 championship in CONCACAF, but they're 5th ranked. They are a side that's already qualified for the World Cup, doing so for the 8th time, but it's a group that's never gotten out of the group stage at a World Cup, and with all the excitement around Canada soccer, to continue to move the goalpost forward, the best way to do it is through the quarry, by getting the Under-17s, the Under-20s, playing at a higher level, and that's exactly what they've done throughout this tournament. They've scored 11, allowed just 3, and while they had a little bit of trouble with Trinidad and Tobago and lost to the United States in the group, they handled Haiti and Puerto Rico in a business-like fashion. They are a side that's prepared to make this a hugely competitive semifinal. This is the second semifinal. Mexico sealed their place in the championship final, 5-0 over Panama. There is this giant waiting on Sunday, and both these teams excited for the opportunity to take the trophy from their grasp. The U.S. are heavily rotated. Canada will bring the majority of a team that's performed very well. They'll make 4 changes their own. We'll introduce the lineups. We'll tell you about the potential future, the Canadian and the United States national team over the 90 minutes that follow. But first, the anthems here at the National Stadium in Guatemala City.
Damas y caballeros, ponerse de pie. A continuación, escucharemos el himno nacional de Canadá.
The true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on our holy.
continuación escucharemos el himno nacional de Estados Unidos.
12th all-time meeting at the Concacaf Under-17 Championship. They met a week ago as the United States, through the lone goal of Keirol Figueroa, knocked off Canada in Antigua. Now they meet at the National Stadium in Guatemala City. Here's the lineup that Andrew Oliveri has submitted. It sees 4 changes. Perhaps the most surprising is in goal. Alexander O'Brien's first appearance at the tournament. Nathaniel Abraham had carried the team to this point. Dumitro, McKenzie, and Rigopoulos in the lineup as well, replacing Njai, Ozamek, and Fong. All eyes on Biello in that midfield. Shamiri Omizi, best 11 in the group stage at center back. DeMontany flies up and down the wide areas. Vojvodic, an exciting attacking threat for Canada. They've had a number of players perform well at this Under-17 championship en route to the semifinal. Christopher Mason of Jamaica will oversee the match. 3 Jamaicans and the Costa Rican AR William Chow make up our 4 officials for this second semifinal. No VAR in this Under-17 championship, as has been the case throughout. Captains meeting. The latest exchange of pennants. Stefanovic, the captain for this Canadian side, Tyler Hall for the United States. The lineup for Gonzalo Segares. Before the tournament, he told me that they would rotate, that one thing he learned from the Under-20 championship is how to make sure you get to the end with enough gas in the tank. Well, they again make 9 changes from their 20-player roster. The only holdovers are Aiden Harangi and Tyler Hall. The Canadian huddle breaks. They won the first ever meeting between these sides at this tournament. It was 1988 in Trinidad and Tobago. Canada 2, USA 1. Since that time, 10 consecutive American wins, which the U.S. have scored 25 and conceded just 7. There's the opening whistle. Who will face Mexico in the final on Sunday night? 2 sides bound for the Peruvian World Cup in November. Canada and the United States lock horns once more in the Concacaf Under-17 Championship semifinal. Oscar Verhoeven. Just beyond the outstretched leg of Biello. Spinning is Aquino. Hall and Hawkins, the center back pairing for the United States. in this, their third knockout stage game of the tournament. Round of 16, 7-0 over the Dominican Republic. Rematch of the under-20 final. And the 5-3 win against Guatemala. One in which they got a goal 7 minutes into the match from Brian Romero. Never trailed. Saw Andrew Oliveri there, overseeing the Canadian under-17s. U.S. into the final third, chip forward. We'll find Rudisil. Follow-up back across the face. The goal is cleared away by Omizi. Now O'Brien's first save of the tournament. Just 80 seconds into his tenure in goal. A chance for Micah Burton, a chance for Paulo Rudisil. Canada dodge an early bullet. Hall. Verhoeven. For Burton, now by Omizi. Notably on yellow card accumulation warning, Christian Diaz and Duran Ferri were not in the 11 for the U.S. Micah Burton, the lone player on the field for the United States, in danger of missing the final with a yellow card. Two players have that concern for Canada. Bodwall in midfield and DeMontany, the flying fullback.
Hey, stay on the post, tight. Hey, if you're ready to step, Leo.
Corner here from Burton.
Are we step?
Aquino.
Away! Are we step?
First ball's away, taken out of the air, deflects back, Mendoza. Burton. That's Verhoeven. Step from Theo Rogopoulos. Hawkins. Hall. It took Mexico 37 minutes, the longest stint without a goal in the entire tournament, before they broke Panama and scored 4 in the second half to earn their place in Sunday's final. Four-time reigning champion at this tournament. Gonzalo Segares with U.S. Soccer dating back to the early stages of 2020. Former national team defender for Costa Rica. Spent a decade in MLS with the Chicago Fire. Has done a wonderful job with this team. 8 U17 camps in this cycle, a number of players in every single camp. The one that's been heavily marred by the COVID pandemic. A number of these players first getting involved in the U.S. soccer program under the auspices of the pandemic. Rudisil cut back and hammered over the bar by Verhoeven. Aquino tried to call him off. Verhoeven went for glory. A look at the earlier chance. This was just over a minute into the game. And then this clip back and 2 U.S. players after it in unison. Hawkins, MVP of the Under-17 Generation Adidas Cup with Seattle. Vojvodic chasing. That's Adam Beaudry for the U.S. His third start of the tournament, started the round of 16 against the Dominican Republic, started the 3-1 victory over Trinidad and Tobago. aggressive from Burton. Hall, met by Dumitru. Pressure wins the ball for the Canadians. Drew Oliveri saying over the last few days how proud he was to not only manage the game, but manage emotions against Puerto Rico with a World Cup spot on the line, how far they've come in what's been a bit of a limited amount of time for this Canadian Under-17 team to come together. Omizi. O'Brien. Biello. McKenzie. Hawkins, shadowed by Vojvodic. Back to Stefanovic. Springs this through for Canada. Vojvodic. Beaudry. Off the foot of Mendoza. Burton looking to hold up with Omizi. Rogopoulos step forward. Stefanovic trails away. O'Brien features in the Toronto Academy. Making his tournament debut. Taken away by Verhoeven. Spinning Burton. Save made by O'Brien, not that it would have counted. Offside. Omizi. At the cusp of the attacking third. Verhoeven swings it back for the U.S. Roster that was constructed to be well balanced. The way it's turned out for the United States, they've essentially felt comfortable with an A team and a B team. Perhaps not in any particular order. Making 9 changes pretty much every occasion along the way. This their 6th game of the tournament. Sprung in between the center backs. Vojvodic, Beaudry, ever aggressive. If there's one thing you know about Adam Beaudry, if you've watched this tournament, this being his 3rd start, certainly not afraid to come running out of the penalty area. Rogopoulos. Chukwu, Stefanovic. That's Beaudry. Diego Colchin expected to be part of the goalkeeping rotation, if not the lead in that department. But an elbow injury kept him out. Taken off the roster on February the 6th, the Barcelona goalkeeper. So Ferri from San Diego Loyal stepped into the team, and he and Beaudry splitting the reps now. Omizi, Stefanovic. Dragopoulos. Rudisil. Back from Vojvodic. Here's Stefanovic. Already appeared for Toronto FC 2 and MLS Next Pro. Fit right in for this Canadian team. Middle of what's been a back three for the tournament. Chukwu and Amizi on either side. That's Chukwu going down. Foul from DeMontini.
He's running behind you.
Well, you can hear that concern coming apparently from the U.S. sideline. It's a couple times now that Canada has delivered a 40, 50-yard ball either between the center backs or in that case trying to spring DeMontini. Harangi. Soto. Biello. Toward Bodwall. Aquino stepped in. Soto trying to bring it down. Chukwu. Off the head. Dumitru. And Biello. Able to lasso it for Canada. Verhoeven. Verhoeven, one of a handful of San Jose Earthquakes in this roster. One of two in the starting lineup today. Joins Edwin Mendoza. Cruz Medina has been up to the task in this tournament. Best 11 in the group stage. Another San Jose guy. Even one of the best players in the Mexican team in this tournament, Fidel Barajas, spent time in the San Jose Academy. All he's done in this tournament is drop 6 assists now that he plays professionally for the Charleston Battery after his stint in San Jose and before that in Sacramento. Bodwall. Strong step from Mendoza. Springs the U.S. the other way. Turned over, seeking Aquino in the pocket. Danger brewing, stolen by Burton. Soto turns. Wiggles free, Aquino. A threat from anywhere. Flicks it over the top, Rudisil. Rudisil off the mark.
Hey, Rich, step in.
A brief dribbling exhibition from Zeke Soto. And for all the talk about how Aquino can really rifle shots from beyond the penalty area, zigs when everyone expects him to zag. Slot Rudisil. Lost a touch. And for the U.S., one thing they have to manage here, 5 games into this tournament, you get to the quarterfinal, chance to play for the World Cup. There's 12,000 Guatemalan fans supporting the host country. So you've got all this energy, so maybe you're used to the altitude and the level of competition, then you deal with that. Good composure from the U.S. always seemed to have an answer when Guatemala found a response of their own. That in mind, there are not 12,000 people here. There aren't 1,200 people here. The U.S. rotating again, seeking to bring their own energy. They haven't been lacking at this point. Hall. Back to Hall. Spoke to him before this tournament began about what it would mean to qualify to play in a World Cup for the United States. Was brimming at the thought. It has arrived. All the while playing at Inter Miami and training with players he spent much of his life watching on TV and emulating. Verhoeven crossfield towards Soto, came down to Gael Demontini. Chukwu for Dimitru. The United States are swarming. Can you blame Gil for asking questions? Midfielder from Barcelona. Stefanovic over to Amizi. Dribbled through that pressure a moment ago, but he's given this away with an awkward skip. Now the shot from Aquino, turned away by Biello. Aquino, 2 goals so far in the tournament. Back the pair against the Dominican Republic.
Deal double. He's offside. Come on, man, just keep it.
Another look.
Yeah, use the line, Chip. Let Alex take it.
Hey!
Towards Soto.
Fuck, man. Referee!
Nothing in that. Chukwu, difficult fall. Second consecutive semifinal that these teams have met. And a similar scenario to that of 2019. This tournament was played in the U.S. Nearly 2 weeks between games, group stage and semifinal then. But a 1-goal U.S. win. At the time it was 3-2. It was 1-0 when these teams met just over a week ago this time around. U.S. ended up dominating 4-0 when they met in that semifinal. Off the foot of Soto. Podwall. Demontini. Of note, these 2 teams, along with the other 2 semifinalists, Panama, Mexico, have already qualified for November and December's Under-17 World Cup in Peru. First time that Peru's hosted in 18 years. Coincidentally, when Mexico won the Under-17 World Cup for the first time. Mistimed effort from Harangi. Set piece for Canada. In every game in which Canada has scored at this tournament, the only time they were shut out, of course, to the U.S. in the 1-0 game in the group, they scored inside 30 minutes. Delivery, Vojvodic diving. Vojvodic scored in the 8th minute against Puerto Rico in that Ultimate World Cup qualifier, the quarterfinal. Njai scored in the 4th minute against Haiti, the round of 16 knockout game. Verhoeven, here's the pressure from Canada. Rigopoulos holding up and commits the foul. Verhoeven, Baudry. Baudry did get that away. Will be a Canadian throw. Andre Dumitru chasing that start to finish. Stern defending from Harangi.
Mike on the way.
That's a clean win of the ball. Biello fouled. This time by Mendoza. So the U.S. stick to their principles. Evade that first line. But again, hit the blockade of midfielders from Canada. Ball recovery statistic has been particularly kind to Biello and Bodwall in this tournament. And another set piece here for the Canadians, approaching the 25th minute. Bodwall, looping header that Baudry ushers through from Vojvodic.
Micah.
Baudry came out of Real Colorado and then joined the Rapids, his second year with that program. U.S. again through a cavalcade of 6 red shirts. And this time launched in behind. Burton. Verhoeven, Burton, Mendoza, Harangi, Zeke Soto, met by Chukwu. Omizi, Biello, Mendoza for the U.S. Swung back by Gill. U.S. wins over Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Canada, the Dominican Republic, and Guatemala. Their 6th game at the Under-17 Championship, having qualified for the 18th time, a record, the Under-17 World Cup in Peru in November. Record that could eventually be matched by Brazil later this year. Rigopoulos over Burton. Stefanovic for Omizi. Chipped by Verhoeven. Verhoeven.
Wait him. Go corner.
Taking Burton again. Omizi.
Hey,
A bit of frustration,
Dio,
having lost that to the end line. Corner for the United States in the 28th.
Keep going, let's go, boys.
Stay tight, hey, too short. Shame, now you drop from post.
Drop in, Tim.
Hey, on the post. Hey, stay strong here. Stay tight.
Micah Burton to the near post. Vojvodic chasing. Got to the feet of Rudisil. Taken out of the air and launched by Mendoza.
Hey, Richard, step in, Richard.
About 15 minutes into this game, we see Andrew Oliveri off. Goal kick begin to ratchet up the pressure. The United States now responding in kind. Aquino, watch out. Aquino! O'Brien. Seattle's got something here with Chris Aquino. Soto. Chukwu chopping at it.
Hey, we lock him here! And we step!
U.S. quickly expand the field here. Rolled forward by Verhoeven. This has been the favored side in the United States. Vojvodic. He may do this on his own. Rudisil pursuing. Oh, excellent. Whistle blows after Verhoeven teed up Burton. We're robbed of the chance of a more extensive view of the play from Oscar Verhoeven. Nevertheless, that's an ambitious tackle to say the least, and Biello strides away from it. Burton, Stern talking to. The U.S. have had 2/3 of the possession to this point. Seeking Gill. 17-year-old on a 3-year deal with Barcelona, about to enter the 2nd year of that pact. Verhoeven, stripped by McKenzie. And immediate retribution. Past the half-hour mark.
Right here, number 2. Let's go. Right here.
The mark of a Canadian victory in this tournament has been a goal in the first 30 minutes.
Number 2.
Bodwall paid the price. A Canadian free kick. Stefanovic. DeMontini. Wanted the return. It's behind Gill. Harangi. Harangi, one of the players not based in an MLS academy. 5 of the 20. One from the American Second Division. Faree from San Diego Loyal. Carol Figueroa is the second leading scorer in the tournament, playing with the Liverpool 18s. Harangi playing at Frankfurt. Gill from Barcelona. That's Aquino chopped down. And the U.S. begin anew. Here's Hawkins. Well done, Rudisil. Attempt to spin through by Gill. DeMontini was wise to it. O'Brien gave it right to Soto. Aquino. Well, the scouting report seems clear about Aquino. Referee, wrong place, wrong time. Christopher Mason will drop. Mendoza. Well done by Biello, who's then given it away in midfield. We'll bring play back, and Burton's won a free kick for the United States.
3 in the wall. Last on the outside, last. On the far side, turn around. Hey, ref. On the whistle? Yeah. Last, stay, last.
Burton leading the line, couple of goals, 4 appearances for the Austin Academy product.
Hey, Tyler, guy out.
This is unfamiliar territory for O'Brien at this tournament in his first start.
Hey, guy out.
Burton will take the set piece. A number of options will converge over that 6-yard box if Burton doesn't decide to go it alone. See what Burton has in mind. Micah Burton from goal, he scored! A remarkable goal for the United States to grab the lead. Burton's third of the tournament is his finest work. USA 1, Canada 0 in the Under-17 semifinal. The way Burton approached placing that ball, you had a feeling, a distinct feeling, he thought he could beat O'Brien. And did he? Over the wall, magically into the upper corner. And Micah Burton opens the door for the United States. 1 goal ahead, seeking the final and seeking their 4th Under-17 crown in Concacaf.
Para el equipo de Estados Unidos, anotado por el número 9, Micah Burton, al minuto 36.
Burton in the 36th minute. That is his 5th goal for the U.S. Under-17s. And without doubt, worth the wait. Burton grew up in Minnesota, part of the Minnesota United Academy. Moved over to Austin in July of 2020. Already time around the first team for Austin FC in the 2023 preseason. Too much pressure from Rudisil. Omizi, Rudisil. Omizi recovered, but he's lost it at his feet. Omizi, that's a free kick for Aquino. Just outside the penalty area. As good an angle as you're going to get. There is no VAR, so this is for our own edification. Contact outside the penalty area. Sprawls out inside the line. Right call by the referee. And this is about 10 yards closer than the last goal from Burton. You'd go with the cultured foot of Burton, or you could go for the aggression that Aquino puts into the ball every time he attacks it. It's going to be Burton. Burton curling for the backside. Well, can you blame him?
Hey, step.
A wall of 5, just never got it to bend. Omizi. Canada playing out of the U.S. pressure so fairly effectively. How quickly can they get that in after Rudisil tackled it over the line, caught between the feet of Dumitru. Diagonal cutout by Verhoeven. Biello, Bodwall. Biello for Stefanovic. These teams actually warmed up off the field of play to try and protect the field itself here at the National Stadium. Hosted half of the group stage, half of the round of 16, the entirety of the quarterfinals. Of course, the final 3 games of the tournament being played here. Today's semifinals and Sunday's final between Mexico, the winner of this game. Verhoeven bangs it off McKenzie. Free kick. Omizi shown yellow. He committed the foul, led to the previous free kick as well. He missed the U.S. game in the group stage for Canada due to yellow card accumulation, yet the 2 games he played deemed good enough to be named to the best 11 for the tournament. That's his first yellow card of the knockout stage. Bodwall and DeMontany are the 2 players on accumulation warning. Should Canada advance, still eligible for the final against Mexico. Dummied forward, never got to Burton. Rigopoulos. Bodwall slides it ahead. Omizi chasing, advantage played, there was none. Bodwall, the Vancouver Under-16 Player of the Year last year. Omizi thought he had that support. Rigopoulos and Bodwall combined to put out the fire. Bodwall. Vojvodic will chase. Hawkins laying back. Over Soto, Chukwu for Biello. DeMontany. They break one line. Cross field short of Rigopoulos. Siphoned off by Rudisil and sent away by Adam Beaudry. Omizi handled that well. Rigopoulos. Biello. Is Dab Morrow, national team assistant. Highly celebrated Canadian player and coach. Hall popping off the back line. Aquino.
Richard!
Zeke Soto.
Try. Hey, lock him here, satellite corner.
Final minute before first half stoppage time. Burton's free kick in the 36th minute, the difference. Soto, that's a corner off of DeMontany.
Gal, step quick, Gal, front. Oh, let's do, my bad. Hey, last, now you jump in close. Hey, Richard. Last, stay a bit tighter. Bit tighter. Yes.
Aquino for the U.S. Toward Rudisil. Bodwall smacks it down. And into the American half. U.S. champions of this tournament 3 times, 83, 92, 2011. Runners-up 7 times, looking for their 11th final. They can knock off Canada as we enter 2 minutes of first half stoppage time. Hawkins. Verhoeven. Brave play by Mendoza. Verhoeven further. Rudisil. Verhoeven dancing. grappling in midfield. Hawkins recovers for the U.S. Hall. Harangi. U.S. didn't like the premise down that right side. And the U.S. may well possess the entirety of stoppage time and take us into the break. Referee's contemplated, he's seen enough. Micah Burton's third of the tournament. He scored against Trinidad and Tobago in the group stage. He scored against the Dominican Republic in the round of 16. And he has scored a phenomenal goal in the semifinal in the 36th minute of play. A curling 25-yard free kick beyond the outstretched Alexander O'Brien. And the United States leads Canada at halftime with the winner facing Mexico in Sunday's Under-17 final. Burton the go-ahead, USA 1, Canada 0. busy summer, one in which they could retain the Nations League trophy and the Concacaf Gold Cup as well. The U.S. won the under-20s, and here they are at the under-17 level trying to wrest this trophy away from Mexico should they finish off Canada, and in the process hold all the silverware in the region, a rarity in the history of the U.S. national team. The U.S. retaking the field with a lead here in the 36th minute, courtesy of Micah Burton. 45 minutes to see this out. The better side in the first 45 minutes. There's so much talent in this Canadian team. An equalizer certainly not outside the realm. Can Biello boss the midfield? Can Canada's pressure hit home? Will the U.S. streak into the final, having won all 6 of their games? The only team unblemished. Mexico drew against Panama. Canada lost to the U.S. at the end of the group. Can they make for a perfect under-17 championship campaign? Waiting for the signal to resume play. Hopefully a fun second half in store if Canada can start to land some blows. Christopher Mason does the honors. On to the second half in Guatemala City. The U.S. leading on Burton's free kick stunner, 1-0 over Canada, and an early handball cedes possession back. McKenzie will stride over to grab it. Canada scored 11 goals in their first 5 games in this tournament. They haven't been all that flashy, but they've stuck to their principles. They've been brave in the build. For the most part, they haven't beaten themselves. Arangi Waits, experience in the under-17 Bundesliga. He's played in the UEFA Youth League for Frankfurt. He was born in Virginia. His dad played in Hungary and the United States. Biello goes down. Under the challenge of Aquino. Bodwall met by Burton. Another Canadian free kick. Now the U.S. seemingly has an embarrassment of riches in the attacking third, but if you want Burton available for the final, you may have to consider bringing him off the field sooner than later, knowing he's on accumulation warning. Throw for Rigopoulos. Canada advancing the old-fashioned way. End line. There's Gonzalo Segares. Has done a really good job with this U.S. under-17 team. Part of the conversation in the lead up to this tournament was about how far advanced these under-17 players are now. All playing in very professional environments. A lot of them, it's not just being in a well put together academy. A lot of these players are already in preseason, playing in Next Pro. The case of Free playing in the championship. They've come with a professional mindset and done a professional job. Mendoza. Hall. Hawkins. Looking in behind. There's O'Brien. Flag never came up. And Gill navigates into midfield to recover it for the U.S. Burton must have run that right on the line. Slams off of the Canadian wingback. They'll circulate it back to O'Brien. Bodwall. It's Aquino winning the free kick. Push from Bodwall. Not a ton in that, but enough. Think back to the 2019 U.S. side. Finished runners-up at this tournament. Giovanni Reyna, Ricardo Pepi, Joe Scally, George Bello. All part of that World Cup squad. Last time the U.S. won this tournament, 2011. Kellen Acosta, Ariola on that team. Soto. Soto taken out by Chukwu. Well, that may be a bit of adrenaline for Canada. Youngest player on this roster, 14 years old for Canada. That's his first card. Taken off of Dumitru. Soto. Hawkins for Burton, who was offside. Just half a stride behind Amizi. And they'll go back here to Soto, who remains down. Soto playing for Houston now, first Dynamo player play in this tournament. Joined the residency program there in July of 2021, growing up in Southern California. Got his 4th and 5th goals with the under-17s here at this tournament. It's such a tight turnaround to Sunday's final as well. Any nagging injury from here could jeopardize any inclusion against Mexico, who knocked out Panama 5-0 earlier tonight. Bodwall won a free kick for Canada. And the cards come out. That is Mendoza. The only player on the field for the U.S. facing a yellow card accumulation suspension is Burton. So Mendoza is booked. Little further out than where Burton tried in the first half for the U.S. And a bit more central, Adam Beaudry deciding how they want to align here. Dimitru, Stefanovic, and Chukwu over the ball.
Ready,
The
Polo.
wall
Ready,
is
Polo.
4 for the U.S. Chukwu away. This ricochets up over Omizi.
Big time, man.
The USC to corner. It was Lazar Stefanovic in the end. And a corner for the Canadians, seeking an equalizer.
Oscar, ready, not too far. Not too far, Oscar. Not too far. Ready. Hey, reverse. Come on!
Bodwell, this is off the training ground. It's McKenzie. McKenzie floating.
Go back. Chris, drop!
Omizi for Canada. Stefanovic. Soto chasing. Injured a few moments ago, was quickly back into the match. Speared up by Dimitru. Touched wide. Vojvodic slicing back for McKenzie. Vojvodic again. Stymied by Mendoza. Stefanovic. Biello. Diagonal too far for Rigopoulos. All 4 teams that reached the semifinal round already qualified for November's Under-17 World Cup. Canada will make their 8th appearance, try and get out of the group for the first time, reached now 4 out of 6. Panama, the same record of qualification, 4 out of the last 6. United States going for a record 18th appearance, and the 2-time champion Mexico are going back for a 15th time. That field now sees 7 qualified, 2 from Oceania, New Caledonia, New Zealand, the host Peru, and then the 4 sides from Concacaf: Panama, Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Omizi. Changes are coming, approaching the hour. Hawkins, Mendoza, and a necessary slide from Burton. Rolled up by Verhoeven. Rudisil, MLS Next MVP a couple of years ago at the under-15 level. And the U.S. stridently forward off his line O'Brien before Aquino can finish the job. In behind Can the U.S. find their second here? Old Central.
Away, Richard!
Soto.
Hold on, Richard!
And here come the changes. So Brian Romero from Charlotte about to come in for the U.S. Eric Pop and Antoine Njai entering for Canada. That's it for Mackenzie. Vojvodich already aligned at the sideline. Apparently knows his day is done, indeed. Pop 1 goal in the tournament. Njai has scored twice. And Romero has a goal and a pair of assists for the U.S. at this stage. Soto's day is done. Picked up that knock about 10 minutes ago. Easy back from Biello. O'Brien got Burton in the air. Burton clapping back at O'Brien.
Damas y caballeros, su atención por favor. Sustitución para la selección.
Ball lofted through, header snap down. O'Brien denies Rudisil, who pounds that into the 6-yard box, and it spikes back up.
Get low. Hey, still up.
Damas y caballeros, su atención por favor. Sustitución para la selección de Canadá en el minuto 59.
O'Brien.
Sale el número 17, Liam Mackenzie. Entra el número 9, Antonio Sedar. Sale el número 19, Kyler
Bodwall.
Entra el número 9, Eric.
In behind. Njai cutting for Pop.
Keep behind!
Away by Omizi. Whichever team gets out of this to take on Mexico. Mexico 5 goals. 1 came by way of own goal. 1 was a 25-yard rocket that's worth seeking out by Suarez on the last kick of the game. But it was mistakes out of the back that Mexico truly feasted on from Panama, from the goalkeeper and the central defenders. That game on Sunday night here at this National Stadium in Guatemala City. U.S. advancing, Romero curling, header, steered off frame. Rudisil again. At some point, you get the feeling Rudisil's going to have his moment. He has scored in this tournament. He did it against Trinidad and Tobago. It proved to be the winner, the second in a 3-1 win. But 4 assists from wide areas from Paulo Rudisil as well, the LA Galaxy 2 player. O'Brien. Aquino. Burton.
No cross.
Romero. Now DeMontany. Hall stepped in.
And we shift.
Verhoeven. Hall now. Harangi. It's wonderful from Burton. Burton goes streaking by Biello. Final pass let him down. Biello, Bodwall. Burton shielded off by Stefanovic. Upfield to Dimitru. DeMontany. That's a push from Pop. Tyler Hall's gotten the wrong end of that. Well, Pop's incredulous as if his hands didn't touch the nameplate. Nevertheless, Harangi cede to Hall. With or without the captain's armband, one of the leaders in this cycle. Has been a part of all 8 camps for the under-17s. Hall already 9 games at MLS Next Pro for Inter Miami. This is 5 players, concerted pressure from the U.S. They're going after Omizi again. Canada hoping to be the 5th team from Concacaf to win this tournament. Cuba, Costa Rica, the United States have done it 3 times, Mexico 8. Got 25 minutes to get one past the U.S. Neither of these teams have really had to worry about the concept of extra time, but it is worth noting, unlike some competitions in CONCACAF, you would go the full 30. Burton wins a free kick, and he may have another go at this.
4 in the wall. 4. Lads on the far side. Hey, set, no cross.
This is Stefanovic. Well, the U.S. are going to take it quick and curling off the frame from Rudisil. Rudisil. Covered by Njai. Omizi. Could this be siphoned off? It is. Romero. Angling. Burton wide. Gill. The return to Gill. O'Brien. You can hear the shout from the Canadian bench. Plenty of time. Just need one. Harangi. Well, it's unfortunate for Chukwu. Bounced right back to him. Possession for the U.S. continues. This is Mendoza. Hall swinging over to Romero. First Charlotte FC homegrown. Performed so well in the Generation Adidas Cup. That was one of the tipping point performances from the North Carolina native. Made believers of the new MLS side. Now was the time for a homegrown deal. U.S. into their bench again here. These are quite the weapons to enter into the game. Cruz Medina scored 3 against Barbados. He has not scored since. Vasquez from the Philadelphia Union comes in as well. That's it for Aquino. And Rudisil comes off, unable to add to his goal-scoring tally, not for lack of trying. And the U.S., after bringing Soto off previously, have made 3 changes in 2 moments. Important dribble from Bodwall. Chukwu seeking DeMontany. Romero. Bodwall got a piece. Heavy touch from Stefanovic. He's vacated space there. Here comes Burton. Burton's got one. He nearly had a second. Dumitru coming off Lucas Ozimek, who's proven dangerous for Canada throughout, comes on. And so the entire front 3 for Canada rotated over the course of this second half now. They've made 3 changes in 2 moments. Biello struggling to deal with that. O'Brien.
Damas y caballeros, su atención por favor. Sustitución para la selección de Estados Unidos en el minuto 70. Entra con el número 11, David Vázquez.
Easy.
Sale con el número 20,
Rigopolis.
Christopher Aquino. Entra con el número 10, Cruz Medina.
Are we step?
Medina. Biello.
Damas y caballeros,
Bypasses Gill.
Sustitución para la
DeMontany.
selección de Canadá en el minuto 72. Sale con el
Slide
número
from
20,
Harangi.
Andy
Wins it back for the U.S.
Entra
Burton.
con el número 11, Lucas
U.S. in formation, flying forward O'Brien. Long before Vasquez arrives. Ozimek over Pop. Njai. All this space out here. Hawkins trying to close it down. Ricochets as far as Mendoza. Vasquez met by Njai. And now Vasquez on the run. Primarily a central midfielder with the Union. Diagonal cutout for Romero by Chukwu. Bodwall. Canada still hasn't found an answer, but the U.S. hasn't put them away yet. Therein lies the intrigue in these final 15 minutes of this second semifinal. Back to Baudry. For so many of these players, you know, the U.S. played Argentina and Belgium, Germany, Italy, Portugal, Uruguay. A really stacked slate of under-17 teams over the course of this under-17 cycle. What they hadn't done is played in Concacaf. They've gotten the experience of being here in Guatemala now for the better part of 3 weeks. This is their 5th CONCACAF opponent in 6 games, of course, having faced Canada twice. They got the experience of having 12,000 Guatemalan fans in a do-or-die World Cup qualifier cheering for their team. One thing that Gonzalo Segarra spoke about in the lead up to this tournament is a lot of people underestimate just how hard it is to win in CONCACAF. The U.S. have had to do it in a number of ways, and the U.S. will have a set piece to try and put distance between themselves and Canada. It's Medina winning the free kick for the U.S. Sometimes cliches are cliches because they're true. Such is the case with just about every iteration of how you describe CONCACAF. Burton scored in the 36th minute off a set piece. This would be a wild angle. He's got a handful of options, including Hawkins towering atop the 6-yard box.
One's got a step.
He's there. Jiva's got it. Yeah.
Theo, stay tight with him.
You're wasting time. Let's go. You're wasting time. Let's go.
Vasquez and Gill. Elongated talking to.
First to it.
See what Burton has in mind. Burton!
Hey, step up.
Gill recovers for the U.S. Comes down to Medina. Hawkins tried to roll it out, recovered by Njai, picked up by Ozimek. United States again. Going to see Biello take it. Now back to Omizi and Chukwu. Able to slide by Romero. Romero. Vasquez. DeMontini. Stefanovic. Here comes Burton again. And O'Brien lost it to touch again.
My bad, Theo. Theo. My bad. Hey, Gael. Gael, that's you. Hey, Gael. Gael.
Here come the U.S. approaching the end line. And a goal kick. U.S. will use their final two substitutes. Pedro Soma has been excellent in midfield. Already making first-team appearances in the Spanish third division. Micah Burton comes off. One more view for the social media savvy in Austin to clip off. A transcendent goal in this Under-17 Concacaf Championship semifinal from Micah Burton. The second leading scorer in the tournament, entered the day joint leading scorer, Carol Figueroa from Liverpool enters. Edwin Mendoza comes off. And the U.S. have used all 5 of their changes, of course, pending the need for a 6th should this get to extra time. Verhoeven. O'Brien. Waved further. DeMontini won't get there. Up from Baudry.
Damas y caballeros.
Goose.
It's the third time these teams have played this late in this tournament before. 2019 semi, 2011 final, and both those ended up going heavily in the U.S. favor. It took extra time, the 2011 final, but the U.S. eventually overtook Canada 3-0. 2019, it was finished far sooner than that. USA 4, Canada 0. This has all the markings of that final group stage game, one in which the paths for these two teams could have been reversed. Canada was in position to try and take the group going into that finale. US won 1-0 then. Canada trying to avoid the same fate. Njai couldn't wiggle free from Verhoeven. Verhoeven getting in the CONCACAF spirit. Much was made of Duran Fari's yellow card, the tail end of that Guatemala game. The dark arts, as they may be, taking a little extra time off the clock. There's been accusations of time wasting from Canada already. Ozimek making new friends. Canada dip into their bench again. It'll be Aiden Fong replacing Regopoulos, a like-for-like sub. At the right back position. One player we really did not get as long a look at as we had hoped was Ruben de Sá in this tournament, playing at Vitoria's under-17s in Portugal. Only got 2 games and less than 100 minutes in this tournament. Shouldn't be all that surprising that Canada's decided not to utilize one of the 5 subs. They've basically used the same 15 players for the vast majority of the minutes. Canada looking to equalize. 2 players caught between 2 minds. Out to Biello. Time for push to come to shove for Canada with 5 minutes in stoppage time remaining in this semifinal. Stefanovic. Harangi up to the task again. Looking for Figueroa. Trying to reclaim his spot on top of the scoring chart. Stefano Carrillo scored earlier today in the 5-0 Mexico win over Panama. Now has 7 goals, 1 assist. Figueroa on 6 and 1. Soma right to Biello. Whistle arrives. Ozimek won a free kick. Still patient, Canada, at this point. There's some room down that right side if they can find it. Biello, as tight as it is, if they can get that down the line, there was an opening. Instead, restructure off to this left side. DeMontany. DeMontany again. Those balls over the top really haven't proven to be a problem for the U.S. Harangi, that was quite the step from Njai. And more time winds away here. The U.S. pursuing their 11th appearance at the Concacaf Under-17 Championship in 19 tries. Qualifying for the Under-17 World Cup by virtue of a 5-3 quarterfinal win against Guatemala. For Canada, it was a 3-0 win over Puerto Rico, who had the most stunning upset of the knockout stage, defeating Costa Rica. Covered by Romero. Couldn't hook up with Figueroa. Stefanovic gave it back cheaply. Out of the reach of Verhoeven. Fans in attendance getting into a verbal tussle of sorts. Stefanovic. Free kick Canada, 90 seconds, and a limited amount of stoppage time remaining. Bodwall with a push. Cards coming, that's Gill. Gill was not under yellow card accumulation threat. No one on the field for the U.S. has that concern. Only Bodwall for Canada on the field right now, and DeMontany, rather. Those two players could pick up a late yellow that could make their Sunday far less enjoyable. Of course, Canada right now would be traveling, given away. And the U.S. looking to put this away. Vasquez pumps the brakes. Vasquez, Medina. Romero. Handball. Time is of the essence now. Chukwu puts it back in play. How much extra time? 3 added minutes. Figueroa. Figueroa. Figueroa wide. And still the match persists. Nearly his 7th of the tournament.
Hey, we said quick.
A corner, Stefanovic stepped in for Canada.
We staff. Hey, watch the back post. Up. Up.
1 of the 3 minutes gone. Harangi. Into a gap, Vasquez. Slithers free. Slide to win it back. And Biello fouled. Expectant faces for Canada. 90 seconds. The U.S. took the lead in the 36th minute. Micah Burton. A picturesque free kick. Off of Omizi. Omizi lost a touch again. Final minute now. The U.S. have beaten Canada 10 successive tries at this Under-17 championship. They did it in the final. They've done it in a semifinal. They're about to do it for the 2nd time here in the 2023 competition. Romero.
Careful, careful.
And Chukwu sends it out again. Sand through the hourglass. Another Conca Classico is on tap. Figueroa. Figueroa crossing. Vasquez wins it back. Vasquez cuts it across. Figueroa! The scoring leader again at the Under-17 championship. The finisher for the United States. Keirol Figueroa, just 2 camps with the U.S. He's scored 7 goals in this tournament. He scores on the last touch of the game. And the United States are going to the Under-17 championship final for an 11th time, seeking their 4th title. The United States and Mexico Sunday night. Burton and Figueroa, the goal scorers for the United States. And after Mexico dispatches Panama 5-0, we have our finalists. For Canada, they've already assured their place in Peru come November, the World Cup slot that they arrived hoping to get. The United States have earned that place as well, but now they'll seek the trophy. And with it, a clean sweep of all the Concacaf silverware. Burton and Figueroa on the score sheet for the United States here in Guatemala City. And it sets up a tremendous final Sunday night between the USA and Mexico. It finishes USA 2, Canada 0.
Concacaf agradece el extraordinario apoyo de los socios del torneo, Scotiabank, Qatar Airways y Nike. Apreciamos su asistencia al partido de esta noche del campeonato sub-17 de Concacaf y les deseamos un buen retorno a sus hogares.
Micah Burton, the final, 2 steps forward.